Hello everyone, and welcome to today's live Zoo to You. We are really excited today to be giving you a little peek at our emperor newts that we have here at Stone Zoo living behind the scenes. So without further ado, I think our stars of today's Zoo to You are right under here. So we have 3 emperor newts here at Stone Zoo. Our adult female right here is named Mekong, and these are 2 of her offspring that were born in 2018. So they are 4 years old. Mekong, even though she is pretty small, I'll kind of put my finger next to her so you can get a good comparison. She's around 4.5, 5 inches long. She is 26 years old, which is really, really old for an emperor newt, even when they are under human care where they're receiving regular veterinary care. So I wanted to talk a little bit about emperor newts because I feel like they're a pretty unknown species to a lot of people. So emperor newts are also called Mandarin newts or Yunnan newts, and they are found in a very, very small part of the world. So they are only found in the West Yunnan province in China, along certain rivers, and at high elevations of between 300 and over 8,000 feet. So they are found at these higher elevations, and they are a rather unknown species to a lot of folks. And Mekong, our adult female, actually has a really interesting story of how she came to live here at Stone Zoo. Mekong came here in 2004 when she was around 8 years old, and she came from the Baltimore Zoo. And the Baltimore Zoo got Mekong from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So it's very likely that Mekong was a confiscated animal and someone had her illegally. One of the biggest threats to emperor newts is actually the illegal pet trade and collecting wild animals for this pet trade. So because of that, Mekong does have very important genetics that aren't in a lot of populations in zoos, so that's why it was even more exciting when some of her offspring were born here at Stone Zoo in 2018. Emperor newts have these really cool adaptations that not a lot of other animals, including other amphibians, they are an amphibian, have. The most striking are these really bright colors on their body. And if you see all of these colorful dots, that's actually how they got their name, emperor newt. It was thought that those colorful dots looked a lot like the jewels that would be on an emperor's crown. These are not jewels though, they are poison glands. Emperor newts are a poisonous species, and their poison is highly toxic for small animals to ingest. Poison does have to be ingested, and venom has to be injected through a bite or a sting. A lot of times people will ask us what the difference is between poison and venom. So that means another animal would have to ingest or try to eat or lick an emperor newt to get that poison in their body. I do wear these gloves to protect my hands, but also and mostly to protect the newts. Newts are amphibians, so that's the same group that frogs and toads are in as well. And amphibians have extremely porous and sensitive skin. Their skin is able to absorb not only water, but even oxygen. And they can also absorb things that I might have on my hands that they should not have on or in their bodies, including soap and hand sanitizer, especially this time of year, lotions, all sorts of different chemicals, even the oils from my skin. So whenever we're handling our newts, if we're doing weights on them, we're always wearing gloves for their safety. These newts also have a very thick skull and really thick bones. So you might even be able to see, it looks like the top of her head is a little lumpy, and that's because of that super thick skull, just to aid in further protection from predators. They are also a nocturnal species, so they were all snoozing under that log During the day, it's very common to find emperor newts either in human care at zoos or out in nature, burrowed under logs and debris, staying nice and safe, staying out of the sun until nighttime. And nighttime is when they like to do a lot of their hunting. So out in nature, they're going to eat basically any small vertebrate or invertebrate that they can find. So a lot of times that will be different insects and worms. Here at the zoo, they are fed blackworms, which are a small aquatic worm, as well as small crickets. I think we can see a little head poking out over here too. Hello. And lastly, I want to talk a little bit about emperor newts and their conservation status. So they are listed as a near threatened species, which means that they are in relative danger of becoming an endangered species. One of their biggest threats, like I mentioned earlier, is the illegal pet trade and collecting wild animals. Another one of their biggest threats is habitat degradation. So as our human population encroaches on wild places, we can destroy habitats, we can introduce pollutants into the environment. So something that you can do to help amphibians in your own backyard, whether you're watching from here in Massachusetts where we are or anywhere in the world, something you can do to help those amphibians living near you is to watch your use of chemicals, pesticides out in your area. So that could be your yard or your home. Watch the chemicals that you're introducing to the environment. Another thing you can do, and this is really important, is to do your research when you are looking into getting a pet. No matter what that potential pet is, it's really important to thoroughly do your research. Vet the place that you're getting that animal from, especially reptiles, amphibians, and birds. Making sure that that is a reputable breeder or dealer. Something else you can do is, look for shelters or rescues. A lot of times people don't realize how old some animals can live. This tiny little newt is 26 years old, so they can live a really long time, and sometimes people cannot commit to that animal for their entire lifetime. So do your research, make sure you can take care of that animal throughout their entire life, and look at rescues and adoption shelters near you. And if you have any questions and you're watching live, please feel free to type them in the chat.
How can you tell the difference between boy and girl emperor newts?
Oh, that's a really good question. So males and females do have a level of sexual dimorphism. And that means that there is an outwardly difference in the appearance of males and females. Usually, females are going to be larger than the males. They're also usually going to have more of a reddish color on their body. Mekong's two offspring, I don't think we've had the opportunity to confirm their sex yet, but my best guess and assumption would be that that is another female. I can see reddish color on some of her limbs. And the other back here, my best guess is probably a male. You can see there's a little bit more orange on the stripes going down that newt's body. So that would be my best guess, but that is not confirmed. So there are a few different things. Size is usually the best way.
Awesome. And where can you see them here at the Stone Zoo?
So the emperor newts do currently live behind the scenes at the zoo. So this is kind of a cool sneak peek into a species that is not usually in a public area. So I hope everybody was able to learn something new about a species you might not get to see on one of your visits here to the zoo. All right, we are just about out of time. We're going to let our newts get back to their busy schedule of napping under a log. I hope you all enjoyed today's Zoo to You, and we'll see you next time. Bye.